I want to welcome you to our lesson 2 of this particular topic, and the theme still remains the human body. My name is Kasada Abe. That's my number. The purpose of that number is to ensure that the activity that is always given at the end of every lesson is sent back to that very number for marking to be done. In today's lesson, which still stands the skeleton and the topic of the skeleton muscular system, we have some lesson competencies for this particular lesson. Must ensure that at least by the end of this lesson, you're able to define a skeleton. You're able to mention at least any 2 types of skeleton. There are more than 2, but at least you should make sure that at least you can give 2. You must also be able to give examples of organisms with the exoskeleton. By definition, a skeleton is the body part that supports and protects an organism. Somebody can say, this is a protective and supportive structure found inside or outside the body of an organism. So, among the types of skeleton, we have the endoskeleton, we have the exoskeleton, then finally we have hydrostatic skeleton. And we can start by looking at the exoskeleton. By definition, this is the type of skeleton that is found outside the body of an organism. It is not found inside, but it is found outside. So in other words, it can easily be seen on the outside. The exoskeleton forms a hard material or cuticle outside the body to protect the inner delicate parts. The organisms with the exoskeleton have a tendency of molting so as to grow or to increase in size. So the reason as to why organisms with this exoskeleton molt is to increase in size, which is in a brief what we mean when we say something has to grow. When you grow, you increase in size. Molting. On my screen, you can see molting in insects. Molting in insects whereby the insect sheds or gets rid of or lets go of its exoskeleton and replaces it with another. The scientific term for molting in insects is known as echidiasis. Echidiasis is a scientific term that refers to molting in insects. Apart from insects, we also have other organisms that are capable of molting, like the snakes. Like you see, if you find a peeling or a skin of that nature, it is indicative that a snake is not far away from that place. Among the examples of the organisms that have the exoskeleton, we have so many of them, very many, but we can basically look at some groups. As we give the examples of such organisms, we can look at groups like insects, look at groups like arachnids, look at groups like crustaceans, and look at groups like miracles. From those groups, we can get as many as 40 examples of organisms with exoskeleton. Let's look at the first group, the insects. Remember, for something to called fat to be called an insect, it's supposed to have 3 pairs of legs and 3 main body parts. Among the examples of insects, we have grasshoppers, we have ladybugs, let's see, we have locusts, we have bees. Remember, all these ones are examples of organisms with the exoskeleton. The cockroach, we have flies, right there on the screen. And then finally, that's my activity. Number 1 is saying what is a skeleton. Number 2, mention any 2 types of skeleton. On the first number, make sure you put a question mark. I forgot. You can put that for me, question mark. Number 2, mention any 2 types of skeleton. Number 3, why do insects molt? And there's a question mark there. And then lastly, why is ecdysis referred to as a biological change? You also put a question mark. After doing the activity, make sure you take a picture and then you send right to my inbox. I don't want to be on this. Have a blessed